So this tutorial, we're going to show you how to make a implant provisional in Exocad. So you can go ahead and set up the case, and you can click on the tooth number that you want to make the crown on, hit anatomic crown, and then 3D print. And then on the right side here, click on screw retained, and then the scan body scan should be checked here. Everything else you can leave alone and hit OK, and then hit save, and then design. So now it's going to prompt you to load in your scans. So the first one it's asking for is the upper jaw. So you're going to select the one that says upper jaw. Now when you export out of 3Shape, you want to export out as a PLY file if you want to preserve the color there. So go ahead and hit upper jaw. The next one is going to say scan marker scan. So in this case we're doing tooth number 8, so it's going to say the upper abutment scan. So click that, and then your lower is going to be your opposing or antagonist jaw. So go ahead and rotate the model so you're looking down the occlusal surface here, just like it shows you in the wizard, and then you can hit next. And then from here you're going to select the appropriate implant library. So here you can see that it says Straumann, so it's the Medentika L series, and that's the implant that we used. And then on the drop down here, you're going to have the different platform sizes, so NC or RC. And then this is gingival height, either it's 3.5 millimeters or 5.5. So we'll go ahead and select. You can change the height of that later on if you want. So it's going to show you the image of the scan body, and based on how much of that scan body is above the tissue, you can alter the height of it to kind of match up approximately to the height of what's visible here. So that just helps the computer identify the scan body, and it does a pretty good job of automatically lining it up. So you just take a peek around and make sure that the scan body matches up with your intraoral scan here. So if that looks good, you can hit the next button to move on. And then now we're going to define the emergence profile. So if you can see this particular scan here, it's just a perfect circle here because there was a healing abutment there previously. But for our provisional, we want that emergence profile to mimic the cross section of the tooth at the CEJ. So in order to manipulate that, we can hop into expert mode here. And then what you can do is you can right click, and then you can click on freeform scan data. And then if you hit A on the keyboard, that'll turn off the antagonist view. The other thing we'll turn off is just our minimal thickness here, and then our prosthetic screw. So we can go here, turn off the screw. And then when we hover over where we want to adjust, if you hold down the shift button, I'm going to turn off the abutment as well. So if you hold the shift button, that actually removes some of the tissue there. So we want to kind of come on the inside and reshape the emergence profile so it'll look more like the cross section of a central incisor at the CEJ. So it'll be a little bit more oval in shape instead of a true perfect circle. So you want to look at it from different views so you're not removing too much material from the free gingival margin, but we're just trying to expand it to make it a little bit more anatomic. So that looks a little bit better, and when you're happy with that, you can hit OK. And then still in expert mode, our next step is to select the emergence profile. So from the manipulation that we just made, we can go around and then click around the emergence profile. If you want, you can turn off the color. Sometimes it helps you see a little bit better the junction of where that tooth emerges out of. So after a few clicks, it'll automatically kind of place it. You could also go to the correct draw and then fine-tune your emergence profile. So this looks a little bit more like what a central incisor would look like emerging out of the soft tissue. And again, you can see it from the different views. So if you're happy with that, you can hit OK. If you needed to bounce back and remove more material, you could always go back to the freeform data scan to manipulate it and then redo your emergence profile. The next step is we're going to load the tooth there. So you can click on Load Custom Tooth Model and then select the tooth form that you want. In this case, I'll choose HD, and then we'll hit OK. And then we'll jump down here again and we'll hit Tooth Placement, and this allows us to move the tooth round to where we want. For now, I'll turn off the screw channel. We're going to revisit that later. So you can go ahead and click and drag that into place. I like to go to the Advanced feature and then click on this free axis selection scaling. And then from here, if I hold Control, I can rotate. Shift can scale the tooth, but I like to hold Shift and Control at the same time, and then it can fine-tune the direction that you're trying to scale the tooth at. So I want the CEJs to more or less line up, so I'm going to lengthen this a bit. And then I'm also looking at the incisal edge position to make sure they're roughly even. And then I'll look from the occlusal view and make some more adjustments here. The other view I like to use to rotate is from the top down. You can hit rotate in occlusal direction only, and this locks your ability to rotate just around the axis here. So we'll line that up there, and then we'll jump back and do a little bit more scaling. And I want the interproximal contacts to just be barely touching, and then we can rotate and then move this out a bit to minimize the occlusal contact there. So this is looking pretty good. The occlusion we can correct at a later step, but if you want to do a little fine tuning, you can click on this waxing tool, and then you can click and then drag to decrease the intensity of the contact there. So mostly I'm looking at incisal edge position and then interproximal contacts, and then lining things up so it's in harmony with the arch form, and then getting our CEJ to roughly match up. So in this case, there's a little bit of recession on the neighboring tooth, so we're kind of mimicking that in our provisional as well. So at this point, we can define our abutment bottoms, and this is basically the emergence profile of the subgingival area of our provisional. So we can turn off the tooth that we just designed for now. You can hit F is a shortcut. And then what you want to do is go to Advanced, and then you can hit Unstick All, and then you're going to see the circles here change colors from pink to green. What this does is it allows you to click and then drag the circles to change your emergence profile. So what you can do is you can change the transparency on the jaw scan to kind of see through, and the shortcut to turn that on and off is S. And then sometimes it's actually helpful to turn on your wax up here, because you want the emergence profile to somewhat outline the width of the tooth that you had just designed. So you can look at it at different views to manipulate the emergence profile contours to match up a little bit better with what you had designed. So in this case, I'm looking out from the bottom here. This part is too long. I can drag this out just a hair. So it doesn't need to perfectly match up with what your crown contour is, but you want it fairly close, okay? Because what the software is going to do is it's going to merge the two together. And then the other thing I'd want to look at is turning back in our jaw scan. I want to make sure that the junction where it meets is hidden below the soft tissue. So if this is too tall, you kind of want to drop that down just a hair, okay? So when you're happy with that shape, you can go ahead and hit OK, and then you'll see it merge together. So I'll hit OK, and then based on wherever you've drawn that line, it's going to merge to your tooth wax up. Okay, so at this point, what we can do is go to freeform, and this allows us some more fine-tuning of the restoration here. So you have your basic smooth tool here. If there's any rough areas, You can add or remove. So in this case, we know our occlusion is a little bit too high, so we can turn on our show distances again. And then if you hold shift, you can decrease the amount of tooth that's there. So again, A turns on and off the antagonist. So we'll just do a little bit more. And then one of the other features here is we can use the adapt tool. So if we do static occlusion, it'll automatically cut the areas that are a little too high. It does leave the sharp junctions or demarcations, so you can go back and then smooth things out. So one thing you can do is just remove where you know you're hitting and then smooth things out so the contour looks a little bit more natural. And then once it's pretty close, go ahead and hit the static. So that looks pretty good. Okay, and then the other thing you can look at is the adjacent teeth. So we have adjacent interproximal contacts. So I'm going to add just a little bit of material here just to show you how the software adjusts for the interproximal contacts. So again, going to adapt. If you just hit the proximal button here, it's going to automatically cut out and adjust the interproximal regions. But it's also going to cut out the cervical portion because it thinks it's hitting the neighboring tooth when in reality it's just the soft tissue. So when I do that, you can see how that cervical area looks not smooth. So there's a little trick to kind of avoid that. So when you go to a proximal, you can hit this little chevron here to drop down, and then you can go shape preserving adaptation, but hit exclude selected parts. And then from here, you can click on select all, and then you're going to click and hold shift. And then this is going to define the surface that you want to allow the software to manipulate. So anything that is selected, the software will correct. Anything that is that darker shade, the software will leave alone. So we want to leave the cervical area alone and just leave the interproximal. So when you're happy with that, if you hit a proximal, you can then see that it just affect the interproximal region there. Okay, so it leaves that cervical area alone. And then we'll check our occlusion again. All that looks pretty good. Okay, and then the next step here is to cut out our screw channel here. So it automatically has these presets. You can just hit OK on it, and it's going to kind of hole through our restoration. So in this particular case, this is going to be probably either a cement retained restoration or a angulated screw channel, because the screw channel is coming through the incisal edge. So your particular provisional may be a little bit different, but that can be changed in the final restoration. So if you're happy with the way that looks, the last part is to hit the save and merge button, and then it's going to combine everything that we had designed. So you have the emergence profile, the waxed up tooth, and then the hole kind of cut through the middle of it. So if you look at the inside here, you can see that there's a little notch. That's important because that's going to dictate the orientation that you seat the titanium base to the crown. So this is what's going to be printed out, and then what you're going to have is this titanium base that's prefabricated that you're going to cement that onto. So if you hit OK here, you should be able to find the files if you go back to the Open Explorer button here in the Dental DB. So we have our STL file here, and then this is the part that would get printed out. Okay, so that concludes this tutorial here.